Jamie checked her phone under the restaurant table. $42. That's what she had left until payday. 6 more days. She looked up. Her friends were laughing. Someone was already ordering appetizers. The waiter turned to Jamie. She smiled and ordered the same thing everyone else ordered. She could not afford not to, not because of the money, because of something far more powerful than money. Because in that moment, ordering the cheaper thing or nothing at all felt like announcing something about herself that she was not ready to announce. That she was behind, that she did not belong at that table, that her life was not going the way everyone assumed it was. So she ordered and smiled and told herself she would figure it out later. If you have ever been Jamie, and most of us have, what happened in her brain in that moment is not weakness. It is not poor financial discipline. It is one of the most powerful psychological forces in human existence. And it is quietly draining the financial futures of millions of Americans every single day, at dinner tables, at weddings, at birthday parties, at office happy hours, everywhere the people you love are gathered together. This is the social spending trap, and it might be the most expensive thing in your life that nobody ever warned you about. Here is a number that should stop you cold. A study by Salary Finance found that 36% of Americans have gone into debt just to keep up with their friends and family. Not to pay medical bills, not to cover emergencies, to keep up. To not feel left behind at a dinner table. To say yes when saying no feels socially impossible. And that number jumps dramatically among Americans aged 25 to 40, the exact age range when social life is most expensive. Weddings, baby showers, birthday trips, housewarming parties, group vacations, every milestone in your social circle comes with an unspoken price tag. And the psychological cost of not paying that price tag, the awkwardness, the exclusion, the judgment, real or imagined, often feels more unbearable than the financial cost of just going along. So Americans go along, over and over again, spending money they do not have, on experiences they sometimes do not even want, for the approval of people who are probably doing the exact same thing, spending money they do not have, for your approval. Think about that for a moment. An entire table of people, all quietly broke, all performing financial comfort for each other, all going home to check their bank accounts with that familiar sinking feeling. This is not a personal failure, this is a collective psychological trap, and it has a name. Meet Destiny. Destiny is 31. She lives in Houston, Texas. She works as an administrative coordinator for a healthcare company. She makes $54,000 a year. Destiny has a close group of 5 friends she has known since college. She loves them genuinely. They are the most important people in her life outside her family. And over the last 3 years, without ever consciously deciding to, Destiny has spent approximately $11,000 she did not have, trying to keep up with them. It started small, a bachelor trip to Nashville she could not really afford, $1,500, then a friend's birthday dinner at a restaurant where the bill split 12 ways was still $200 per person, then a group vacation that everyone agreed will be cheap, but it was not cheap, then the constant, almost invisible social spending, the brunches, the concerts, the group gifts, the Ubers, the outfits for occasions, each one individually reasonable, collectively devastating. Destiny never said no, not once. Not because she is bad with money, because every time she is considering saying no, she felt something that had nothing to do with money at all. She felt like she was choosing between her financial future and belonging. And belonging won, every single time. Because for Destiny, like for most humans, belonging is not optional. It is a biological necessity, and that is exactly what makes the social spending trap so devastatingly effective. So why is belonging so powerful that it overrides financial logic? The answer goes back further than psychology. It goes back to survival. For most of human history, being excluded from your social group was not uncomfortable, it was fatal. Humans who were cast out from their tribe did not survive alone. They needed the group for food, for protection, for shelter, for reproduction. Belonging was not a preference, it was a difference between life and death. Your brain still carries that ancient wiring. It cannot distinguish between being excluded from a prehistoric tribe and being the only person at the table who does not order dessert. Both register as the same threat: social exclusion. And your brain will do almost everything to avoid that threat, including spending money you do not have. Psychologists call this social comparison theory. First identified by Leon Festinger in 1954, It describes the human tendency to determine our own social and personal worth based on how we stack up against others. In financial terms, this means we do not spend based on what we can afford. We spend based on what the people around us appear to be able to afford. And here is where it gets truly devastating. The people around us are doing the exact same thing. A 2023 study by Empower found that 39% of Americans admit to spending more than they afford to maintain their social image. Nearly 4 in 10 Americans. Simultaneously performing financial comfort for each other. Simultaneously going deeper into debt to maintain an appearance that the person sitting across from them is also just performing. It is the most expensive theater in America, and almost nobody has a ticket they can actually afford. Now, here is the part nobody talks about. The social spending trap is not just a psychological accident, it is a $1 trillion industry. The entire marketing and advertising ecosystem in America is built on one foundational insight. People do not buy products, people buy belonging. Every aspirational advertisement you have ever seen is selling you the same thing. Not a car, not a handbag, not a vacation, belonging. The feeling of being the kind of person who has those things. The feeling of fitting in with the people in that advertisement. Of being at that table. Of being invited. Social media turbocharges this to an almost incomprehensible scale. Instagram alone generates over $30 billion annually, almost entirely from advertising built around social comparison. You're not scrolling a photo app, you're being fed a continuous stream of carefully curated social comparison triggers, each one designed by some of the most sophisticated behavioral psychologists in the world, to make you feel slightly behind, slightly inadequate, slightly not enough, so that you click and buy, and temporarily belonging, until the feeling fades, and you need to buy again. The social spending trap is not to bug in the system, it is the system, running exactly as designed, on you every single day. So where does that leave destiny? Where does that leave you? Here is what I want you to understand after this video. The social spending trap is the most personal of the 3 broke cycle forces we have covered so far. Because it does not just take your money, it takes something more important. It takes your ability to make financial decisions based on your own values, instead of the perceived expectations of the people around you. And breaking that trap does not start with a budget. It starts with a question. One question. Every single time you're about to spend money in a social context, am I spending this because I genuinely want to, or because I'm afraid of what happens if I do not? That question, asked honestly, is worth more than any financial plan ever written. Because the moment you can tell the difference between the genuine desire and social fear, you have taken back something the system works very hard to keep from you. The ability to choose. For yourself, on your own terms, regardless of who is watching. You now understand the 3 forces of the broke cycle. The hedonic treadmill keeps you running. Lifestyle creep consumes every step forward. The social spending trap costs you the difference. But here is what I have not told you yet. All 3 of the forces share one thing in common. One single psychological root that makes all of them possible. One belief. So deeply embedded in American culture, so thoroughly reinforced by everything around you, that most people never even recognize it as a belief. They just think it is a reality. In episode 4, we are going to name that belief and show you exactly where it came from and why dismantling it changes everything. And I mean everything. See you next Thursday.